Hi guys, it's your Alan Girl and I'm back with another reaction video for you today. And today I'm reacting to British people don't know how old their food is. And I'm getting this one from Adventures and Naps. The link for this will be in the description below. So I'm like, okay, British people don't know how old their food is. Is there not a date on each of these items that they're looking at? Do they not stamp them and say, okay, best before 2025, best before 2026? Do you guys not have that? So maybe I'm thinking of it in a wrong way. So with that said, let's get into this video. So come on in, right back, put a smile on your face and enjoy. To all my regular schmegglers, day one, sweetie pies, sweetie poos, come on in. Right back, put a smile on your face and enjoy. Don't forget to hit the like, hit the subscribe if you haven't already. And do what? Tell me what you want me to react to next. Here we go, guys, right now.
British people, you guys don't know how old your food is, and we need to talk about it. Hi everyone, it's me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alana, and I'm a Canadian, but I have been living here in the UK for the last 7 years. So the other day I had an incident, which we will get to in a second, and I just had this moment where it kind of clicked for me how old British food truly is. And I don't think British people are aware of it. So without further ado, let's go.
Okay.
Now this whole video idea, this whole revelation started here at the sink.
Okay.
Exciting, I know. And I was stood here doing the dishes or something extremely mundane, and I was zoning out at this particular bottle. So by the sink, we have an assortment of squash because that is my exciting life. And I zoned out looking at our Vimto no added sugar. Just, again, extremely exciting. And I realized that I had never noticed on this particular label since 1908. I'm sorry, what? Vimto was released the same year that Henry Ford released the Model T. 1908. The only reason I know that is I did a whole big research video about why birds drive on the left. Please check it out if you haven't seen it. But 1908. Okay. Now, Vimto was created by John Nichols from Blackburn, Lancashire. Did you know that? I didn't. Maybe people know that. Now, originally, his product was called Vim Tonic, and it was kind of like this herbal tonic situation that he would deliver to local businesses and cafes and that kind of thing. But in 1912, he shortened the name Vim Tonic to Vimto, which honestly is a great name. And while Vimto was originally registered as a medicinal drink, I'm not really sure what they were claiming it did. Maybe because it had vitamin C or something in it. While it was considered a medicinal sort of herbal remedy type situation, it was re-registered eventually as a cordial in 1912 or 1913. It depends where you look. Around this time, there was a big movement towards soft drinks. It became really trendy, and it's said that John realized, I've got something interesting, this Vimto cordial, and it really exploded as it became more of a trendy thing to have. And of course, there's a variety of different flavors. If you have a favorite one, leave a comment down below. We have the neon pink one that is raspberry, orange, and passion fruit. And actually, a complete side note, this is not really a thing in Canada. Well, Vimto, first of all, but this as an idea. So, of course, all the Brits know what squash is or what cordial is. I'm never good at figuring out how much to pour. Is that just me? But typically in Canada, you would have your juice concentrate in a jug in the fridge, and you would mix that already with water so it was diluted to the appropriate amount. Then when you want a juice, you take the jug out of the fridge, you pour it out, and you're good to go. So this as a concept was actually kind of weird to me when I first moved here. Oh, I hadn't seen this before. Anyway, cheers. This particular Vimto to me tastes exactly like a Canadian Blue Freezy. There's probably 4 people watching this video that know what I mean. When I close my eyes, that's what it tastes like. A Canadian Blue Freezy. Did you know Vimto was invented in 1908?
No.
I'm really hopeful that you didn't know that because I was really shocked.
Now, okay. Now, I was like, huh? they don't know how old their food is. But now I get what she's saying, when it was actually made. 1908 is a long time when you think about it. But, and then and I'm like, okay, is she said it's sitting on a counter, and I'm like, okay, why would a juice be sitting on a counter? Wouldn't it get spoiled? But then I realized, so your Vimto is like syrup. So you have it when you want to drink some of it, you mix it with your water and you drink it. Am I correct? Let me know in the comment section if I'm off or if I'm correct. All right, guys. Vimto. Okay. All right.
Vimto is actually the most recent British product we are talking about today. That was 1908. We are moving back in time to 1881 for, can you guess? Lyle's Golden Syrup. Now, as a Canadian, when I see this in the shop, I immediately think it looks incredible. It looks historical. It looks traditional. It's just a really cool looking product just on the face of it. Now, before we can get to golden syrup, we have to talk about Abraham Lyle, born in 1820 in Scotland. How many Scottish people are watching? Hi, how's it going? Now, there's a couple of stories online on how we got to golden syrup. One of them being that in 1863, Abraham became the owner of a sugar refinery as part of a debt. And he became aware that they would often use some of the byproduct of their refining business and give it to pigs, basically. It was like a really cheap pig food. But Abraham realized that with a couple of tweaks, what they were just sort of essentially throwing away could actually be turned into a really good product. And after expanding his business to London, he opens up another refinery and they start creating what they called Goldie, which is like a golden treacle type syrup. Now, something that was really surprising to me was the actual imagery on the tin. And I don't know how many British people are aware of it. I know sometimes, at least I know for me, day-to-day life, I've had a long day at work. I go to the shop, I'm buying the things that I need. I'm not necessarily looking at the imagery on some of these products and what it means. But when it comes to the golden syrup, I find this so fascinating. Now, I wrote this down. Leave a comment down below if you already knew this. But on this tin, I knew there was a lion, right? You look at it quickly, you're like, yeah, there's a lion. Okay. I didn't realize that it is a dead and rotting carcass of a lion with flies. Delicious. And of course, it has the slogan, out of the strong came forth sweetness. But what does that mean? Now, apparently this is in reference to a biblical story involving Samson. During his journey, he killed a lion, and when he passed the same spot on his return, he noticed that a swarm of bees had formed a comb of honey in the carcass. Yum. Samson later turned this into a riddle and said, out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth sweetness. Okay. Now, it's not explicitly known why Abraham chose that imagery or chose that saying or phrase. He was definitely a religious man, so kind of checks out. Some people think that it is suggested that they refer to either the strength of the Lyle company itself, or the tins in which the golden syrup is sold, or simply the process of refining sweet syrup from bitter treacle. Either way, in 1904, they registered it as a trademark. Yes, 1904. Wild. Like with many of the products we're talking about today, this, of course, has a royal warrant. Their first one was around 1911. Which is just crazy. Now, sources say that the golden syrup can be traced back to 1881. However, do you know what year black treacle came around from the same company? Not until the 1950s, which I found so surprising. For some reason, I thought black treacle was way older, but it's not. The more you know. In 2006, the Guinness Book of World Records recognized the Lyle's Golden Syrup as Britain's oldest branding and packaging.
Oh, wow.
This beautiful tin. Almost dropped it. I bet you if you dropped it, it wouldn't even matter. It's so solid. The floor would probably be dented, though. As we continue our walk down memory lane.
Okay. So what is that syrup, though? What is that? Is it syrup that you put on pancake or syrup that you mix to drink. She didn't really go into detail what it does. But that's a long time. 1904. 1904 is a long time, baby. And it's the oldest brand. That's crazy.
Going further back in time, we are now 171 years ago. Do you know what product we're going to talk about? Guess now. Quickly. Fox's Biscuits. Now, I only recently discovered the jam and cream Fox's Biscuits. Oh my God. Why didn't anyone tell me about these earlier? I had to live in the UK for like 6 years before I tried these. And it seems only right to have one while we talk about it. Cheers.
Oh, that crunch sound good. Ain't gonna lie.
Okay, hold on. Almost there. Okay, so in my haste, I ripped the most important part of this package. Fox's favorites since 1853.
Wow.
Now that would be 170 years ago. I heard that was 1852, give or take a year. Now, Fox's Biscuits were actually founded in the family home in Batley, West Yorkshire. Sorry for the accent. I can't help it. And Batley is probably not pronounced that way. So if anyone is from that town, I'm very sorry. Now, Fox's Biscuits were not actually founded by Mr. Fox himself. His name was actually Michael Spedding.
Okay.
Again, probably not saying that properly, but his daughter married a man with the surname Fox. And I guess he just liked that name better. And to be fair, it's an easy name to say. Now, the terraced home where this was founded in Batley on Whitaker Street, wow, full of mispronunciations in this video. That house still stands today. To be fair,
wow.
I didn't actually experiment with Fox's Biscuits when I first moved here for a long time. I'm not really sure why. I just didn't try them. And it was such a shame because these ones in particular, the jam and cream, oh my God. If you are watching this video and you've never had these, please, okay, I'm going to eat the rest of these in between takes.
Okay, give me.
They're really good. Now, a few years before Fox's Biscuits are created, we are in 1837. Two pharmacists create something, okay? Something that is quite possibly the worst thing to pronounce ever.
Worcestershire
sauce. Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. That. What's interesting with this story is they actually invented something. So biscuits, of course, were already invented. Foxes didn't invent biscuits. Now, of course, they invented different flavors and different varieties, but they didn't invent the biscuit itself. What's interesting with this story is that these two men invented this thing from nothing, or nothing good at least. They themselves also had kind of difficult names to pronounce. So we're talking about John Wheely Lee and William Henry Perrins. Perrins? Not sure about that one. The story of how they created their first W sauce in 1837, there's loads of stories online, but the one that circulates around the most is this. Allegedly, when they first mixed their ingredients, their first batch, it tasted so bad that they basically could not use it. So they bottled it up, stored it, put it away in a cellar, and just forgot about it. Now, over a year later, they were looking to free up some space. They come across this barrel, they tasted it, and they realized how good it was now. So because the sauce was given time to mellow out, to ferment, it turned into Worcestershire sauce. Science! And while I can't say that I use the sauce often, maybe on like a Welsh rarebit, you like a little bit of that, or you're making like a shepherd's pie, that can be really nice. I don't use it that often, but when you do need it, it definitely makes a difference.
Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire.
Is that right?
Worcestershire
sauce.
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
You see, everybody.
Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire.
All right, let's move on. Now,
Look, no, I ain't gonna lie. That I struggle with Worcestershire. Worcestershire. Did I say correctly?
I think it's Worcestershire. Worcestershire.
What I think it's I normally say Worcestershire sauce. That's what I used to say. But I think it's Worcestershire. Worcestershire. Look here, we're not going to go like she said that. Every time.
British cities always have to have such difficult names.
I know, right? That's what makes them unique. But so now I get she said that they made it. It tasted awful after about a year sitting in the barrel. They tasted it, and that's when it clicked. It's like, oh, it's not necessarily bad. It just needed to sit for a while. It needed to be fermented before, and that's how that came about. Isn't that something? Look at that. Let's move on.
Now we are so close to this next British product being 200 years old.
200.
So if you watch this in 2024, it will be 200 years. And of course, we are talking about Cadbury. Now founded in 1824 in Birmingham. Anyone from Birmingham? Hi, how's it going? Now Cadbury was founded by John Cadbury. What a name. Eventually his brother became involved, Benjamin, and he also brought in his two sons, Richard and George. Now, in 1905, it was actually George Jr. that invented dairy milk, which, in my humble opinion, is probably my favorite chocolate.
I can't wait to try it.
I'll go out on a limb and say it. Their recipe used a higher proportion of milk than any other chocolate on the market. And in less than 10 years, it became Cadbury's best-selling product. So thank you, George Jr. Cheers.
Listen, I can't wait to taste it. I ain't gonna lie, because it's one thing.
Man.
Look,
and while Cadbury was founded in 1824, it took no time at all. 1854, they got their first royal warrant. Personally, I much prefer dairy milk. I much prefer Cadbury products to, say, Galaxy. Leave a comment down below. Cadbury versus Galaxy. In any case, it is far better than anything you can get in Canada.
Wow.
Even Cadbury that is sold in Canada is typically like the North American recipe, which is not good. The only time you can get real Cadbury is if you buy like the actual imported Cadbury from the UK, which you can't do. It's extremely expensive. You have to like go to a British shop or you go to like the British section of a supermarket to get this specifically imported stuff, because the stuff that they sell in Canada and in America, it's not even close. But it is wild that such a old product, nearly 200 years old, such a British historical product is available everywhere. Go to your local shop. You're going to have Cadbury. And I just think that is absolutely incredible. You're basically eating history. Now, what?
I know it's amazing just to hear, but Cadbury is not Cadbury like the Cadbury that she like the Cadbury she's eating. The Cadbury that we have here, I'm 100%. Yeah, the chocolate. I'm 100% sure that it does not taste like the Cadbury that you guys have. It's just because American water down everything to it's quantity over quality. But I can't believe this thing is 200 years old, because I'm looking at it in 2024. That is amazing. Thank you so much. I can't wait to taste it. I'm sitting patiently waiting. I know a few of my regular schmegglers said, listen, Island Girl, we have a box coming your way. So you'll see my reaction when it comes. Okay, I'm excited. Let's move on.
Possibly could be older than Cadbury.
What?
Do you have any idea?
The kettle.
Mull that about in your head for a minute. Did you guess Twinings?
Oh.
And yes, I always want to say Twinings. Now, do you have any idea how old Twinings is? Because I certainly did not. Did you guess 317 years. Because I bet you didn't, unless you Googled it, in which case that's cheating. Now we've got a couple of difficult words to pronounce. Twinings was created by Thomas Twining, great name, in Panswick, Gloucestershire. Gloucestershire. I think it's Gloucestershire. It doesn't matter. It's probably both wrong. Now, Thomas opened the first ever tea room in London in, guess what year? I already forgot. 1706, which sounds like a made-up number. And the logo was created in 1737. And it is the same logo that they use today, which is the world's oldest continued use logo. Surely you didn't know that. And unsurprisingly, this is another royal warrant holder. Now, there's a couple of stories of Twining's origin, but the one that comes up a lot is basically the Twining family, due to the recession of the time, they left their home in, remember, Gloucestershire, and they moved to London. This was around 1684. Now, when Thomas was about 26, he started working for this wealthy merchant trade kind of man, and he was involved in some of the very first shipments of tea to the UK. Now, around this time, coffee houses were extremely popular, which love to hear. I love a coffee house, although women were not really allowed in them. We'll come back to that in a second. Men would meet at these coffee houses. You'd have coffee or perhaps hot chocolate or perhaps a little bit of alcohol, but not tea. At least not yet. So Thomas saw an opening. He saw all these coffee houses. He started getting involved in shipments of tea. So he opened his own coffee house that also served tea. And because, like I said, social norms meant that women were not really allowed in these types of coffee houses, they would, at least the wealthy ones, would send in men to buy them Twinings tea, whether a hot tea for them to take, or he sold actually a lot of tea leaves so people could have it at home. And for over 300 years, Twinings has been making tea. So if you have a favorite, leave a comment down below. As a Canadian, I didn't grow up in a tea household. Grew up in a coffee household, so I'm still very much a coffee girly, but there is something that is really wild about being able to have a cup of tea from a British company that is over 300 years old. So cheers.
That is crazy.
And by the way, Thomas Twining's first tea shop, the number 216 Strand, London, still operates today. It really is incredible to be surrounded by so much history that I don't think people actively think about.
That's true.
You are literally drinking history, British history that has survived for over 300 years. And I think that's really special.
It is.
If you're interested in learning a little bit more,
that I ain't gonna lie. Because I'm like, where is she going with British people don't know that, you know how old their food is. But come on. Twining tea, over 300 years old, 317 years, and the shop still opens today. That is history unimaginable. Just thinking about it. Oh, I'm drinking something from that started 317 years ago. Huh? Imagine that. And I can still walk into that same shop now. That is crazy. Cadbury, 200 years old. It's crazy. All of these products that she introduces, and I'm like, oh my God, just stop to think about it, guys. This is history, and you're still partaking. And they have the royal seal of approval. How amazing is that? And I'm telling you, your history your history is so rich, and you can still enjoy it today. And when she talk about tea, oh, how I love tea. I grew up drinking tea. And I can only imagine how Twining tea at this point, because I saw mint. I love mint tea. I can just imagine how their flavor come out compared to the regular mint tea that we'll buy here from all these people. Like I say, quantity over quality. But I am happy I watched this video. Now I know something more about the Brits, my Brits family. So it's your island girl, and I'm running out of here. Don't forget to go in the comment section. Tell me what you'd like me to check out next. Your girl got you. Right back, relax, Continue to enjoy your life. Be good, be safe, be kind, love each other, and I'll definitely catch you guys in another video.